See, it always just goes straight live. Man, it does. I usually have to click a button to say start the stream, but apparently not. Hey everyone, Smitty Halibut here, testing out a stream from my new shop. Streaming from the new shop, but I don't get the URL until I start the stream. It's weird. So now I have to go promote the thing on stream. Okay, we'll do that, and let me go put this on Mastodon as well. Hi everyone, we are not Mastodon. I just did that. Discord. There it is. We are going to be working on the open source Open Headset Interconnect Standard user adapter. So, hold on. Live stream while I assemble the open source OHIS user adapter and test the new streaming setup from the new shop. Come join me, even though I won't be able to see the chat from my from the workbench. I'm still working on setting that up. Okay, so now let me tell you what we're doing tonight. I am using the correct microphone. Very good. I am in the shop. I'm in my new shop. This is my new shop. I'm so excited. And I've got my freaking NORAD of screens in front of me. I've got 6 different screens in front of me. It's kind of nuts. The 2 monitors directly in front of me are my primary displays. That's what I use. Off on the left here is the laptop that drives those 2 displays, plus 1 more display on top of it. So a total of 4 displays on my Linux box. And then I have 2 more displays over here, a Windows box and a Mac box. And my goal is to eventually be able to stream from those to my Linux box, merge it all together, and then stream that out. So I can do things like show my Flex. But when I got OBS and NDI installed on my Mac and ran it at the same time as the Flex software, it just shit the bed. This Mac is almost 10 years old. I had to hack it to get a modern operating system on it. It's just not powerful enough for that. I haven't tried on Windows yet. There is a smart SDR software for Windows, but I like the one for Mac better, so I really want to get the Mac one working. I might have to buy a new Mac one of these days. This one's a hand-me-down from my mother-in-law. But what does work is an NDI stream from the computer that I have on the workbench, which we will be using today. So, the goal here is to test all of this out and make sure it's all working. So that's the view from my workbench, right? We've got the hi, my workbench is over there. And we've got the down camera on the workbench, and then what will become the face camera from when I actually sit down at the workbench. But first, we're going to talk about what we do, what we're going to be doing. So again, tonight's 2 parts. We're testing out the new streaming setup and making sure all of that's working okay. And we are going to be assembling this open source user adapter, OHIS user adapter that I designed on stream about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point. Anyway, it's a very simple adapter. It's got the OHIS port on one side, and then 3.5 millimeter sockets for headphones, microphone, and PTT, and a mic preamp that you can turn on and off or enable and disable with some jumpers. And then I laid all of that on a board. It's all through hole. This will be sold as a kit, so you can buy it and assemble it yourself. And there's an OHIS over there. There's a PTT, so the whole thing is meant to fit in your hand like a handheld push-to-talk, with the sockets coming out the other side for your headset. Well, let's go ahead and do the 3D viewer. Nope, not up there. How about here? So this is what KiCad thinks the 3D view of the board's going to be. Now, I also have a board that goes on the bottom and a board that goes on the top, so that the whole thing is like a stack of PCBs that you can hold in your hand without having to, without touching the components and, you know, all the sharp pointy bits and whatnot. You can also tell which components I added PCB outlines for, but never put a 3D model in for. The RJ45 over here doesn't have a 3D model, and neither do the 3.5 millimeter sockets because I created those outlines. Yeah, so that was just a quick summary of what we're doing. And then let's head over to the, actually, I'm going to leave that up in case I need it, but I'm going to click workbench, and then I'm just realizing I never got audio set up over there. Curses. Well, there is audio. Oh man, that's going to sound horrible. I told you this was a test. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so I am streaming audio to the stream right now because I see that coming in here. Let me see if I turn on bench audio, what happens? Hold on. I'm going to mute this one so we only have one mic live at a time. I'll be right back. Well, crap. Okay. So it does not appear that audio was being sent from any of those. Okay. Well, I've got some more work to do. Then I'll tell you what. We can make this work. Hang on. I think we can make this work. I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. First off, let's get off the weird side shot of me. I need to get a microphone over there. I know I can plug one straight into that computer, but I don't know if that will actually send audio over NDI. So I might have to just plug audio straight into this. This microphone would work, but I don't have a cord long enough to get it over there. Phooey. I thought I had a 3.5 millimeter extension wire cable in here, and I think it's in the house. I do not have a good way of getting that over there. don't think I do. Oh, that might work. Hold on. Power tools. Oh, nope. Don't do that. All right. So, I have my headset, my headphones, with a microphone on it. This little mic right here. Let me try plugging that in straight into the other computer and see if that brings audio in from the other computer. I kind of don't think it will, but let me try it. Stand by. That. Okay. Device default. Built-in analog. Okay. So that's on the headset audio now. But I don't know whether that's actually being sent. So, if I talk from over here, you're just basically hearing me across the room, right? If I point that at me, my mic is across the room. Bench down, bench fit. Yeah, why is that not getting any audio? Do I have to configure it on this side to send audio? Ooh, sorry about that. Tools, NDI output settings. Main output. Yeah. Okay, so today is going to be problematic, unless I can go get that barrel plug or the extension. All my male and females are in the other room, I think, because I don't see anyone here. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Nick. That's not exactly an high OPSEC thing. I'm on enough databases as it is. Yeah, I also know my audio is drifting in and out. I'm trying to figure out a way to get... I started the stream without remembering that I don't have audio at my workbench. My goal is to be able to work at my workbench, and I don't have audio over there yet. What about this? This might help. Get a USB sound card, sound interface. I can plug my headset and stuff into, and then just get a long USB cord. Yeah. Nick is telling me to get a wireless lav mic. You're not wrong. Rear out, line out, front out. So I think that's the headset, although I don't really need that. I just need the mic, and then I need a long micro USB. Stand by. Not micro, just kidding. Mini. Extension. USB-C. There we are. Okay. So if I plug that in there and that in there, now I have a new sound interface. If I come over here and do properties and hello? Why is that fixed? Okay. How does this sound? Because the VU meter makes it look like it's going to sound like crap. Okay. So I'm going to bring OBS onto the screen. I don't know if you can see right here, like that's supposed to drop down to 0. And it doesn't. That makes me worry. So I am curious. Yep, that's the sound card I just added. Yep, that's the mic. Okay. Well, we'll see how this goes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I should probably look into a lav mic. Okay. All right, let's go do some assembly. So I am going to bring this back over to the workbench and flip that monitor around so I can see it if I need to. Let me grab this and put that there. Put this behind me. Try not to run over the cable. Hey. Okay. Nick, if you're still on, text me and tell me whether the audio is working out okay on this or not. All right, so I showed you earlier in the stream what the board looked like a little bit. This has been my project bag with all the parts that I ordered, as you can tell, because it had my mailing address on the screen for quite some time. But I am just pulling out all the parts here. 2N3904s. Put on my readers so I can actually see brass standoffs. That's part of the kit. Little nylon standoffs, also part of the kit. Buttons. I have buttons of different lengths because I needed to figure out which button was going to work. Jumpers. 3.5 millimeter sockets. I think these are the RJ45s. Set that aside. And the circuit boards. So I'm also trying to figure out where. Okay, so that's a good spot. Okay, cool. So this is the top circuit board. You can see because it has the PTT hole in it. This is the bottom circuit board. It is just a board. There's no traces on that or anything like that. A bunch of those. Okay, those are bottoms. Those are tops. Don't get any ideas. And then that is the main circuit board. So we will be assembling parts on this. How do I get that to focus? You know what? I don't think webcams can focus that short. All right, so we'll figure that out. This whole streaming thing is definitely an experiment. I am learning as we go. So I got one of each of these. like a dealer at a blackjack table. I am going to pull this out. I'm going to turn my fume extractor on. I don't know how loud that is. Okay. So, what components do I want to solder on first? Well, probably the smallest is going to be that 1 nanofarad capacitor. So, these are 1,000 picofarads. That would be a nanofarad. So we grab one of them. Put it in here. Slide those apart. Yoink. Yoink. Turn on my Metcal. Ha ha ha. I can tell right-handed people have been using my workbench. We are going to move this iron back over to the left side of the table where God had intended it. I am making mild fun of my daughter and another guy who's working for me these days. Ooh, nope, don't put those on that. Okay. I've got my Metcal. I've got my solder. And I put that in upside down, because of course I did. Okay. All right. 27K, 470, and 75K. One of each of those resistors. Excuse me. This is the 470. I bought enough components to make, I think, 50 kits. Maybe it was 100, but the components are cheap enough that I could buy those even before I had this board finalized. This is my first prototype of this board, so I'm kind of part expecting there to be issues with it that need changes, but it's also a super simple circuit, so maybe not. We'll see. If there is a peanut gallery in the chat room, I cannot see it. I do not have that in front of me. So feel free to peanut away, but I will not be able to see it. Forgot to. Purple, green, orange. That would be 75. So that goes in the 75K. Hey, knock it off. There we go. Okay. Roll that up like a joint. I mean, not that I would know anything about that. Ironically, I wouldn't. Never rolled a joint. Not that I don't know how. Brown, purple, orange? Oh, yeah. Your audio level is low on the stream. Okay. Paul Brown is telling me this. Yep. So is this not the microphone? Paul, text me again because I can't see the chat. Is this the microphone that's being used? So it's handy having people in the chat room who know my cell number and know how to get a hold of me. Both Nick and now Paul have done that. That is the microphone that I am using. Okay. Well, let's see if I can do something to crank up the gain a bit. Check 1, 2. Oh man, you are not kidding. I just looked at the VU meter. Output device, input device. Nope, let's set that to the CM106 and increase some gain. Is that better? Oh, that's getting too hot, I think. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That looks a little bit better. Paul, tell me whether you agree that that sounds better. Okay. Still figuring all of this out. And my watch goes buzz. That's much better. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul, for helping me debug this. This is the new shop. Do you like it? I've got my desk, my NORAD of monitors back there. 6 monitors. And then over here is the workbench, where I've got a down camera for looking at the workbench, and a face camera so that I can look at the screen or look at the audience. And there's going to be some improvements made on this still. But this is kind of just a dry run of the idea of what I want my streaming setup to be. I really want a better camera here. This is just a Logitech, what is it, a C920? Kind of their obligatory go-to webcam, but it's not great at focusing at short distances, or fixed focus, really, for that matter. So don't have much of a budget at this point for buying better cameras, and I've got 3 cameras already that are Razer Cairo Pros, I think is what they are. They look like this. There we go. So, wide angle, Razer Cairo Pro. They look really good, but the computer I had them plugged into, and that I have these cameras plugged into, is an HP T620, and it just can't really keep up with it. So 1 microfarad. 1 microfarad. I knew there was another capacitor in there somewhere. Yeah. That's right. I got one of these at 0.1 inch spacing and the other one at 0.2 inch spacing, so that they're a little bit harder to confuse. Paul, do me a favor and send me a text. How loud is this fan on my mic audio? Can you hear the fan at all? Does it get in the way of any of the audio? I'll turn it off now for a comparison. Fan back on. Paul says he can't hear it, so I am going to call that a worthwhile addition to the workbench, so that I'm not breathing this crap. No difference. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, shoot. Which ones were these? 27Ks. Okay. Put them back in the bags with the labels so I actually know what I've got. What each part is. Okay. 3904s. Okay. I like to give George and Mike and Vince a hard time about their soldering irons of choice. George is a Weller guy. Mike and Vince are both Hacko, I think. Well, I know Vince is. I think Mike might be a Weller as well. But I am kind of spoiled in that I've got a really nice Metcal that I got back in the 90s, and it was surplus at the time. It was broken when I got it, and I had to replace a transistor in it to make it work. But at the time, I got it for $20, and it was probably an $800 soldering iron. And I've had to replace other parts on it, like the wands, these things. These things get a lot of abuse, the cables here especially. And so when they start to fail, you kind of you spend $125 on a new wand. The tips themselves, but those are always consumable. The tips themselves are also more expensive than like on a Weller or a Hacko. God, it's like soldering with butter. I swear, it is such a good iron. Somebody on the Discord recently bought themselves a Metcal. Paul is texting me saying, Paul Brown, WD9GCO, if I'm going from memory here, from Amateur Radio Newsline. He says he's on Team Metcal as well. He says he has 3. Anyway, somebody from the Ham Radio Workbench Discord recently got a Metcal and posted, they're like, oh my god, I thought you guys were exaggerating, but no, this is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you explain it, right? Like, I can tell you technically what's going on, and I can tell you how it's different, like it feels different to me, but any way I explain it, it just doesn't sound all that in a bag of chips. Not the way it feels. Like, it feels so much better than the descriptions I can do make it sound. And so whenever I have someone else that has never used a Metcal before try one and just exclaim about it like I do, it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not just full of crap. I hate that. So yeah, anyway, I really try not to mock people. I don't mock anyone. Your soldering iron is fine. Whatever one you're using, if it works for you, then it's working. And I'm not going to tell you you're doing it wrong or that you really need to upgrade or anything like that, because Metcals are bloody expensive. You can get a brand new Hacko for half the price of a reasonably good quality used Metcal, and you're just not gonna suffer from the difference. You may notice the difference, and I think that's the part that is. Shoot, all my .1s are in the house, so I'm not going to go get them right now. Yeah. I'm rambling now. So let me get that out of the camera. If you see me looking over there, because that's where my monitor is, so I can see what's going on with the cameras. I need to do a video tour of the shop. I've got some, like, how it started, how it's going kind of videos that I've recorded but not done any editing on, because I don't know how to do video editing on Linux. And neither of my Windows or my MacBooks are powerful enough for that. So I got to figure out how to do that. But yeah, I want to do a quick tour of the shop. I think people would enjoy seeing it. Really? Come on. Oh, for the sake of Pete. What are you doing? There we go. Whoa. That didn't survive so nicely. All right, get one of these. Hey, it fits. It fits nicely. Yay. I like it when that happens. I did not screw up the outline. Yay. Okay. You're about ready to get broken off and not cared about anymore if you keep that crap up. All right. So, I've got the board assembled. Yeah, that's the right orientation. I have not put in the jumpers there because they're inside the house. I don't have the parts out here. And I have not put in the button because I got multiple sizes of buttons and I need to figure out which one is the better one. I've got 16 or 15 millimeter tall, 16 millimeter tall, and if either of those are too tall, I think I've got 13s inside as well. So instead what I want to do is I want to build the stack up and experiment with the buttons to see which one feels the right height. And there's 4 of those. And 4 of these. So these are longer M3s that are going to go through the bottom with the plastic separators. Seriously? Yeep. Too many. Too much. We've got a runner. Stupid cylindrical parts going all over the place. Yeah. The belly of catching. And it's gone. We've got a standoff down. You know what? I hate you guys. Yeah. Jiminy crickets, what is going on? Okay. Got those, and then these. Okay. So I was limited on the height requirements of the top board by this socket. I did not want to expose the top of that socket because they've got those little springy bits. I want those springy bits to be pushed down by a board. If I had a part that did not have those springy bits on them, then I would have been willing to make this board, instead of have kind of the exposed copper area there, just have a cutout, and then kind of have it be flush with the top of that connector, just to make the whole thing just a tiny bit shorter, like if it were flush like that, as opposed to having to be on top of it. So, all right, let's put this all together. And I've got explicit tools for these. Oh, hey, some of it's right there, but I can belly of catching. I can turn that off now. You may not be able to hear it, but it still drives me up the wall. So I'm just putting the standoffs on the top board. Hey. Okay. That may not have been the best way to do this, come to think of it. Okay, so that stack up works nicely. But if I just left it at that, you still have all of the exposed pokey bits down there. You know what? Actually, I think I do want to do this differently. I want to start at the bottom. So we're going to go that. Then we're going to go through there. Then through a plastic standoff. Then through this board. Yeah. This is all good stuff to learn, because other people are going to have to assemble these as well. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's my stream. I can cuss if I want to. I've got a tape dispenser around here somewhere. And put these on top. Then put this down. Okay, that's actually working out nicely. And then put the standoffs on. Hey. There's one. Okay. So, there's the bottom, and it is just there so that you're not holding on to the board with all of the solder points, the pokey solder points coming out of the bottom. And then now, put that over there. But let me put a button in first. I'm going to start with the 15 millimeters. Start with the kind of middle size. Oh. Nope. Oh, that's right. But no, because I got buttons. I got plastic caps that'll go on this that will raise that by like a millimeter. But even so, I think that's a little bit too short. Let me put on the 16s. Okay. Ow. All right. So this is what the
open source user adapter kit looks like. It's meant to be held in your hand. It serves as a handheld PTT. Picture there's a yellow plastic cap on top of that fills up that entire outer hole of the circuit board, and makes the button stick up a little bit farther, because you can see the button is pretty flush with the top of the circuit board there. Sticks up like a fraction of a millimeter. So when you put the cap on top of that, it'll make it stand up just a little bit more. You don't want it to stand up too much, because then when you're pushing down on it with your thumb, it becomes pretty pointy. You kind of want it to be pretty flush with the circuit board. Otherwise, it hurts when you're pushing it down. It just looks awfully airy. I mean, I would love to have. I may have to find other sockets here, because I would love to have this circuit board closer to this circuit board, right? So there's less space in the middle here, and go flush with, just put a cutout right here that kind of goes either flush with the RJ45, or maybe even a little bit down, so that the RJ45 sticks up a bit, but it makes the entire thing skinnier. Though having said that, this fits in my hand, and I've got big hands. This fits in my hand pretty nicely. It feels small, but it still feels good, like a PTT. I guess one concern I have is that the screw heads right here are right next to the PTT button, and when you push it down on the PTT, my thumb is kind of pushing against the screws as well. It's not the best tactile experience. I don't know. Okay. So the next step to do on this is stuff I need to do. I need to go inside to do. I need to go get parts to test the button cap and to solder the jumpers. Here, let me take the top off so we can see this again. Solder the jumpers onto the board so that you can jumper it for with or without the mic preamp. And for CTIA style, the 4-pin or separate mic and headphones, and also the microphone type, whether it's dynamic or electric. Did I already say that? Whether you put the mic preamp in or not, in circuit or not. Yeah. So these three jumpers over here, let's see here, can I make this focus? I don't know. Is it going to do it? Come on. Be nice. No? Jerk. Anyway, those jumpers, you put the two jumpers on that side, and I think either the phones or the mic or both turn into a 4-pin CTIA. Left, right, ground, and then mic. Whereas if you pull it down to the bottom, then it's just headphones, and then the mic is separate. So I guess it is the CTIA, or the headphones that becomes the CTIA plug. And then this one over here enables or disables the mic preamp, which are these 5 components there, 3 resistors, a capacitor, and a transistor. And then that makes the OHIS. Sweet! Oh, I did put the Okay, so I was originally thinking that this board isn't really oriented in any way, but it kind of is, because I have the OHIS by the 3.5s, and then the labels for the 3.5 by the OHIS. All right, so I screwed that up. But that's just cosmetic. What do you think? Send me some comments, either in YouTube chat, which actually, let me head back to my computer. Stand by. Okay. There we go. Actually, let me just do that. Okay. Oh, hey, look, there has been some chat. Howdy, I have one of those smoke suckers. Audio level is pretty low. Team Metcal, nearly no audio. Much better. No fan noise. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Nerd Garage, for hanging out in my chat room, even though I couldn't see it while I was at the workbench. But now that I'm back at my desk, I can. So, yeah, give me your thoughts on this user adapter. What would you like to see? Are there any other changes you would like to see, or are you okay with the way it is right now? I'm going to be selling it as a kit that you will have to assemble yourself. I got to test it first, make sure it works, as I expect it to for both dynamic and electric headsets. And then once I get that tested, um, then I'll start making those kits available. Paul is pointing out that now we need an open source basic radio adapter, and I agree. The radio adapter is harder because there are so many different physical connectors. Part of what made the Radio Pro so expensive is having to support all of those different physical connectors. So if I can instead just put a wire header there and then force the user to make their own cable, which is not a great option. But yeah, I need to spend some time thinking about how I want to make that work. These will be kits. The user is going to be expected to do some assembly, but I don't want to say, all right, user, you need to make your own custom RJ45 to 8-pin GX16 cable, because that is too much in my opinion. So I may get RJ45 to 8-pin GX16s straight through cables, shielded, custom made, and then you only have to route the right signal to the right pin. And that might work okay. But then that custom cable, the GX16 to RJ45, if your radio takes an RJ45, you're golden. If your radio takes a GX16, then you either have to wire your own cable or buy one of my pre-made cables that will go into that. That's kind of the way I'm thinking of going with it. But I haven't figured that out yet. I will say that I had a user reach out to me today. He reached out to me a while ago saying that. Actually, let me switch back to the good microphone. Hold on. That one. Check 1, 2. Check 1. Yep, that's the one. I had a user reach out to me today saying that he tried to make his own radio adapter from an ICOM IC9700 to OHIS, and he ran into some problems with it. And we spent some time looking over his design, and we ended up finding out what the problem was. It actually ended up being on his user side. His audio was too low. Wrong mic? What do you mean wrong mic? No audio? Shoot. Oh. Because I need to change it in both. All right, check 1, 2. Yep, okay. Sorry about that. Thank you very much, both Paul and Nerd Garage, for pointing out my audio mistakes. More goober. Do you call me a goober? It's probably legit. Anyway, let me start over. So I had a user reach out to me this morning saying that he tried to make a DIY radio adapter from an ICOM 9700 into OHIS. And that should be super simple because the ICOM is already OHIS compliant electrically. It already uses electric microphones. It already puts out headphone levels. The ICOM even puts out a headphone level signal on the 8-pin GX16. So you can make an ICOM to OHIS radio adapter that is entirely passive, that is just a specific pinout between a GX16 and an RJ45 socket without any electronics. And that's what he did, and he was running into some problems with it. It wasn't working for him. Turns out the problem was on the user adapter side. He didn't have his mic level adjusted correctly on the User Pro. And once we got that figured out,
he plugged it in, and he was able to make QSOs. So that's kind of rad. So Paul is responding to my goober comment. More goober. Apparently, he typed gooder, but Siri decided to auto incorrect it to goober. Anyway, so this guy James, he got a working radio adapter, not a Radio Pro, radio adapter with just wires from his ICOM to an OHIS, and then he bought a contesting console from me and is planning on using it for either for contests or I think he was talking about doing it with Soda and Poda as well. Maybe that was somebody else. Anyway, OHIS is getting some traction. Sales are a little bit slow. Slower than I would like them to be, but they are non-zero, and I'm getting people that are reporting success stories and being excited about it. So, I'm hanging in there. We're going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep trying to make more quantity and more affordable products and kits like this user adapter that we just worked on today, and I want to try and make a radio adapter, similarly an open source radio adapter. We're still working on eggnogs. In fact, I just received my most recent prototype boards. They are here. Haha. So this is a board that will help me test whether a BN433312 ferrite makes a suitable UHF common mode current choke. Here is a test of the next design of eggnogs. Here is another test of the next design of eggnogs. I don't know why this one is wrapped in tissue and the other one wasn't. And then this is quantity 50 of one of the previous designs of eggnogs that, after ordering 50 of these, I figured out that this might not be correct. This might not work. Thankfully, these are just boards with no components on them, so buying 50 and having to not use them is not terrible from a cost perspective, but they might not work. Between this and this, we'll be able to determine whether I can use those 50 boards or not. The most recent data we have suggests I might be able to, but if not, then this design will fix that problem, and then I'll have to verify that with these just these prototypes, and then order more of them. And then the question becomes whether the BN433312 ferrite makes a suitable common mode current choke, and that board will tell us that. And if it does, then this board will let me test an eggnog design with that common mode current choke on the eggnogs itself. So, eggnogs is in progress. I've also split out the LNA from the eggnog board itself. So eggnog is going to be entirely passive and just do all the mechanical bits to create an egg beater antenna. It'll come with the milled PVC cap and all of the stainless steel hardware and all the stuff that you need to make the actual antenna itself, but without an LNA. So if you just want an entirely passive antenna, you can buy just that eggnog kit and make the antenna. If you want the LNA, then you can buy AmpNogs, which is going to be a long and skinny board with the LNA on it that is designed to screw. So eggnogs is a horizontal board. AmpNogs will screw directly onto it from the bottom and stick down into the PVC pipe that you use as a mast. And it will have the LNA and the switching and all of that fun stuff. The stuff that I tried to squeeze onto that top board, and it was just causing all kinds of problems. And having that as a linear strip board will be a much better layout for that. And it also means that you don't have to pay for the LNA if you don't want it. And then, of course, T-Nogs will be down in the shack if you don't have a radio that will turn on and off bias T when you transmit. So if you need to inject a bias voltage and you need to be able to switch that bias voltage with PTT, and your radio does not support that natively, then T-Nogs will do all of that for you. So those are going to be the 3 different products in the Eggnogs product line. The Eggnog itself, which helps you to build the physical antenna, Ampnogs, which is the LNA that hangs down from it, and then T-Nogs down at in the shack that will power Ampnogs if you need it. Hobbified is saying that makes a lot of sense. Did you ever sort out the regulator on T-Nogs? No, I have not. So Hobbified, God, I'm terrible with names. You're Andrew, he says with a questioning voice. Anyway, Hobbified got one of my T-Nogs prototypes, and he found out that I completely screwed up on the adjustment for the voltage regulator that's on T-Nogs. Every voltage regulator that I've ever used, the reference voltage is referenced to ground. And so when you do your voltage divider, you have usually the larger part of it above your reference voltage, and then you have a small fixed resistance below the reference voltage. This particular voltage regulator is referenced to your output voltage, so you need to swap the orientation of your voltage divider that you use for setting your output voltage. And I did not notice that before I built the boards, so the output voltage regulation was not working, or I might have those two backwards, but anyway, the output voltage regulation is not working correctly. It doesn't break anything, it's just you can't set the voltage the way I wanted you to be able to. So I will, of course, be fixing that before I go to the next prototype. It's still in my notes of things that needs to be fixed, but I haven't really touched T-Nogs. I've been trying to get Eggnogs finished and working first. Yeah, so I don't have anything else to discuss tonight. I think that's it. It's about 8:15 now. I think we've been going for about an hour. I don't know. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I got to do the obligatory YouTube things. Hit me up on Patreon if you want to throw some money my way. Excuse me. I'll put a link in the show description, but or a pinned comment in the doodly-doo. That's apparently a thing that YouTubers do now. All the links in the doodly-doo below. Whatever. Anyway, it's just patreon.com/ I don't know if it's slash, but anyway, search for Smitty Halibut or Halibut Electronics, and it's there if you want to throw money my way every month or so. Or don't. It's fine. It's there if you want to use it. But do check out my website, electronics.halibut.com. That's where all my products will be listed if they aren't already. Like and subscribe. God, I hate that. I got to find some other way of doing that stuff. Anyway, this is my new shop. I've got my skull heads over here. That is Mo, our 12-foot skeleton from Halloween. That is currently in a box waiting for next Halloween, but I have the head up here. I will be hooking it up to a power supply and having its creepy little eyes move around. That's cool. This one here is Bob, named after Bob the Skull from the Harry Dresden series. He's got little flickery LEDs in his eye sockets that look like flames. This is the obligatory IKEA Kallax display shelf that every YouTuber seems to have behind them. So I'll be putting up various different display things back there too. Nerd Garage says, glad to hear I'm not the only one that despises, the like and subscribe crap. Yeah, I'm if I ever do that, I'm only ever going to do it with tongue firmly in cheek. Subscribe or don't. You know what content I put out. If you enjoy that, subscribe, and if you don't, then don't. That's fine. Cool. But I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I've had a blast, and I will continue making improvements. I will make sure to get a good mic set up at the workbench, and I will make sure to improve the cameras over there. I've got a new computer coming soon that I hope will work with the Razer cameras that will get better resolution and frame rates and everything. And I will also make sure that I can view the chat room while I'm over there. So yeah, lots of work coming. But tonight was an experiment to just kind of make sure that all the things are, the concept is sound, right? And I think it is. So, all right, cool. I'm out. Thank you all so much. Be good humans. See you next time. Gonna wait for me to make the thing on the Be Good Humans. See you next time.